Hey guys! I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha, as always, and I welcome you to my channel. I hope that you guys have been enjoying my videos and the content that I've been putting out, and hopefully you're learning from them and growing from them, which is the main reason I'm putting all this stuff out there. In this video, I wanted to speak to you guys about how INFJs are labeled ice queens or ice kings. I myself was called the ice princess for the longest time when I was in high school and university. It's kind of funny because INFJs are actually the warmest people out there, right? And that's again the contradiction that creates an INFJ's personality, is that we come across as really cold and unemotional. There's a lot of reasons for it. We're very private individuals. We really don't like sharing anything about ourselves with the world. We keep everything to ourselves and to our heart. And so if we do share something, it's only with a select few people. And those are the only few people that actually know that we are not cold and unemotional. They're the ones who actually see us in our true essence. And those are the people that we're really scared of because they know our true essence. But in general, we only show a facade to the world because we're unsure, of how the world is going to perceive us. We're unsure of how they're going to take our full, true, essential self. It's actually one of those things that I use as a test with people around me. I'll show them my true self, and then they'll run in the opposite direction. And then I'll realize not only that I shouldn't show my true self, but also that they weren't meant to be my true friend anyways. And this has happened many times, and it's not something that I've done once or twice. I've done it many times to use it as a test. A lot of times I'll be like, no, I think this person can take it. I think this person will be able to see my true self and still be friends with me. And I'll show them my true self, and boom, they're gone. And I think to myself, oopsie, maybe I should have been a little bit more careful, or maybe it's a good thing. It's good to have less people in your life, but more people who actually really care about you and who want to be around your true self than people who are happy to be around your fake self. You know what I'm saying? But in general, because we show our true self, our true warm self to very few people, we show our caring self to very few people. Most people think that we are cold, unemotional, robotic, and ice-like. The reason I had the Ice Princess nickname for the longest time was because of this exact thing. I'd walk around completely aloof and completely uninterested in what was going on around me, or that's the persona that I portrayed to the people around me. I'd walk around and I'd do my thing. The only thing I really cared about was studying. Of course, that was not really the case, but that's the kind of persona that I portrayed to the world, because I wanted to make sure not only that I was very successful, but also that I had something to hold on to. Because if I did not have friends, and if I did not have people around me that cared about me, then the only thing I really could focus on was school. The only thing I could really focus on was being successful and working really, really hard on the things that mattered to me. And so I really focused a lot on school, even in high school and university. All of my time, all of my effort, unless I was in a relationship, which is very rare, was focused on doing my work, was focused on being really, really productive and really authentic with my work. And so that's what I focused on. So of course I didn't have any time, or I tried to not have any time to think about all the different people in my life, all the people around me. And I tried to really portray that ice princess role or persona to the world or to the people around me, because then they wouldn't be able to make fun of me or reject me or abandon me if I did show them my true self, and all of a sudden they're like, well, really? That's what you're really like? Yeah, I don't really like that part of you. Why don't you go back to being the way you were before, And so I usually just try to do it that way. The reason I wanted to do this video is not because I want to be like, yeah, we're ice princesses and ice kings and ice queens, or ice princes, whatever you want to call it. It's not obviously a good thing. I think it's a protective mechanism. It's a defense mechanism, obviously. It's a way of protecting our hearts, our really tender, soft, warm hearts, from the cold, cruel world out there. It makes sense. It makes absolute sense. Everyone does this, I think. We are just a little bit more ingrained into this idea of protecting ourselves from the world, and we're also a little bit more into the idea of being ice princesses and ice kings so that we can protect ourselves from the world. It's the persona that works the best with our personality. It's also the persona that we portray the most. So if you meet an INFJ, that's the first idea that you're going to have in your head. recently I went to this workshop, and we were asked for our initial impression of the person that we met. So the person next to me had to do their initial impression of me. And obviously we had started talking by that point, and I thought that they were a good person, and I kind of revealed myself a little bit more. So I started smiling a little bit more, and I was making jokes, and I was being a little bit more warm than I had been when I first came in. Because when I first come into any strange situation, as any INFJ would, we're doing recon. We're seeing, okay, are these people trustworthy? Are these people the kind of people I can show my true self with? Are these the kind of people that I have to hide myself from? Are these the kind of people who are going to take advantage of me? Blah, 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 right? And so I was obviously cold and aloof when I first came in. I was very protective and I was very hesitant. But then this person next to me was nice. And people in the workshop in general were really cool. And so obviously I'm showing them a little bit more of myself. And that's exactly what the person said next to me. She said, my first impression was of you that you were really cold and, a person that I wouldn't really want to get to know that much, because you're going to be really aloof with me and you're not going to care about me, and maybe you will even harm me in a certain way. But as I got to know you, obviously, I realized that you're a very warm and kind person, and I want to get to know you better. Okay? Now, of course, that's one of the things about our intuition. I knew intuitively that I could trust this group, and I could portray my true self, or as much of my true self as I could. Obviously, it's not completely my true self. There's so many facets to us. There's so many dimensions and layers to us, to every human being, that we only portray a little bit. We kind of peel off one layer and we show a little bit of ourselves, and then we peel off another layer and we show a little bit more of ourselves. And so that's what I was doing. I knew intuitively that I could trust this group and I could trust this person next to me. And so that's why they were able to see past the facade, past the mask of coldness, and into that warm-hearted self that we are. We truly are extremely warm people. And that's one of the reasons why people get confused around us, because, my friend will say nice things about me to other people, and they'll be like, yeah, she's really warm, she's really nice, really kind, I love her, I love hanging out with her, she's so funny, la la la. But then the people around her be like, really? That's not the impression I got of her. I thought that she was really cold and really mean, actually, and she never smiles, and she's always aloof. And so, I really didn't want to get to know her better. That's one of the reasons I think, as ice kings, ice princesses, ice princes, ice queens, I think one of the main ways I actually get above or around it is, of course, using my intuition to gather information about a group very fast, so very quickly. So I go into a strange situation and I have a tendency to do recon right away. I want to know what this group is all about, and if I can, show my warm-hearted self to them, right? And so I do that very quickly nowadays. I have been doing it for a long time, so I have really good practice with it. But I recommend that you guys practice this as well. This is one of the main tools or techniques that you guys are going to use as an INFJ in order to go in, figure out if you can be your true warm-hearted self right away, and then show your true self. Because I feel like that's one of the not the bad things, but one of the weaknesses, I think, of being an INFJ, is that we don't actually show our true self as often as we should. I think our true selves are awesome, and I really want to portray and show my true self as much as possible, right? Of course, we're scared, we're afraid of rejection, abandonment, we're afraid of being ridiculed, we're afraid of a lot of different things, because it has happened to us in the past. It's not like we are just making this shit up in our head. This has already always happened to us. It happens to me all the time. But I kind of think of it this way, there are some people, most people, who are not going to like my true self. That's okay. It's a good way to kind of cull them off, to get rid of them. Be like, all right, cool. I don't need you in my life anyways. I want the kind of people who really want me to portray my true self, my weird, giggly, unique, quirky self that has a lot of weird interests and has a really odd sense of humor, a really dark sense of humor. And that's the person that I want the people around me who really care about me, I want to show them that self. And again, as I said, I use that as a way of culling people off. So I'll show my true self to people that I know are not going to get it, and then they'll weed themselves out automatically. They'll be like, I don't think she's the kind of person I want to hang out with. Cool, I don't want to hang out with you either. There are so many billions people out there that I want to hang out with, rather than the people who don't want to be around me. I don't want to be around them either. It's such a good way of of weeding people out from your life. And so I use that as a technique. Now, as I said, I love my true self. I have learned to love it over a long period of time. I did not love it always, but I have learned to love it. And so that's why I want to show it as much as possible. And so I go into a group, I use my intuition, I show my true self. Some people like it, some people don't. The people who like it will stay, the people who don't like it will go away. And this way, I am able to be myself and really, kind of get rid of that persona of being the ice queen or ice princess. But unless it actually needs it, if I need to show that ice princess mode, if there are people around me that I'm like, no, please get away from me, you seem really douchebaggy, or you're the kind of person that I don't want to be around, or you seem cruel, or you're the kind of person that I want to avoid, then I will show my ice princess cool facade, and they'll walk away from me, and that's perfect. That's exactly what the facade is for. It's for protection from all of those harmful, narcissistic energy vampires out there, right? Again, I hope this makes sense. I don't want you guys to think of it as a bad thing. I think our ice princess role or ice queen king role is actually a protective mechanism that works really well if it's used consciously, right? So don't always just use it as a default. Think about it. Is this the kind of scenario where you can actually show your true self and you can put away that facade, that ice king queen role for a little bit? You don't always have to use it. There are people out here and out there that are good and kind and will take your true self and will just love it, and they'll want you to be your true self around them. So just use it consciously. Don't just fall into it in a default way where you just don't even think about it anymore, okay? I hope this makes sense to you guys. Again, if you guys have any questions at all, please let me know. All my contact information is in the description below, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.